Good evening. I am the Vice Chair of the City of Saginaw Planning Commission. This is a regular meeting of the City Planning Commission. When the petition, special land use, or the site plan approval request in which you are interested is called, please come forward, give your name and address to the Secretary for the record. After the appellant's presentation, others may comment. When people do comment, we ask that they respect their time and please just comment once on a particular item. The meeting is videotaped. It is important that only one person speak at a time and the audience observe respect for the speaker. An affirmative vote of the majority of the members present is necessary to grant a petition, special land use, or site plan approval. Recommendations on all petitions made by the Commission are then forwarded to the City Council. Are there any questions? If there are none, the Secretary will call roll.
All right. Also remember to state where you're broadcasting from, city and state. Tom Braley.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
Fred Zaworko is absent. Zenobia Dallas.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay. Robert Hanley.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
Yolanda Jones. Thought she was on here earlier. Brenda Moore. Jack Nash.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
Jim Nightingale.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
And Bill Ostash.
Present, Saginaw, Michigan.
And welcome, Bill. This is Bill's first Planning Commission meeting.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Cassie.
And Mr. Vice Chair, we have a quorum.
Yeah, Cassie, I saw that Brenda just joined.
Oh, okay.
You.
Brenda, where are you broadcasting from?
Europe. Saginaw, Michigan. I
you.
said Europe, but I'm gonna be serious. Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay.
The next item is approval of agenda. Cassie, do we have a change to the agenda? Proposed agenda? Hello.
Looks like Cassie had to take a phone call, so she might be talking to another commissioner.
I'm sorry. Yolanda got kicked off. Bob, could you resend that link to her? She's not able to get in for some reason. I'm sorry. What was the question for me then?
The question is, do we have a change to the proposed agenda?
Yes. Could we push the CIP presentation to the first item under new business, please?
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as modified?
So moved.
Those in favor, say aye.
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 No? All right, the agenda has been approved. The first item then on new business is the capital improvement presentation. Mr. Weiss?
Thank you very much. And thank you for accommodating me to this evening and moving the agenda. I'll try to be as brief as I possibly can. And for
Excuse
people
me.
who don't know me, my name is Brett
Sorry,
Weiss.
this is, excuse me, this is Commissioner Dallas. We didn't approve the minutes.
Oh,
We did not approve the minutes.
you're right. You're right.
Good catch.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Is there
Sorry for the interruption.
Is there? Thank you for interrupting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 meeting?
So moved, Brenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Any changes, any modifications, any discussion?
Yes, this is Commissioner Dallas again. I have one correction to the minutes. This will be on page 2. The last paragraph for the first case J200047. If you look down on the second page where we have the motion The last line says motion denied. I believe that should be motion approved.
Yes, thank you. Good
Yeah.
catch.
Are there any other further changes to the minutes from the December 15th meeting?
Commissioner Dallas, which did you say? Second page.
It's the second page. It's the last paragraph of the first
You must.
case.
I got another set of minutes, and it was passed on mine, Cassie. Okay,
No, I'm saying it was the first case, but the first case runs to the second page.
right. But
And the last line says motion denied. It should be motion approved.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further comments on the minutes from the December 15th meeting? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
we- All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? No? All right, finally, the minutes have been approved for the December 15th meeting. Now, back to capital improvement.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit.
Well, it was my fault.
Okay, well, for those who don't know me, my name is Brian Weiss. I'm a budget analyst with the Office of Management and Budget for the city. And it's my responsibility to present the capital improvement plan for the upcoming fiscal year. And I'll be briefly covering the process and some of the major projects for the coming year. Let's see if I can get my presentation going. How does that look? Okay.
Looks fine.
Right. So I'll begin. A capital improvement plan is a tool to help plan for the future long-term projects within the city. And our CIP covers 6 years of planned projects and helps to coordinate efforts between departments within the city. And capital improvements can be any physical facilities or assets which involve a substantial investment and last for a long time. For example, a new building, new bridge or road or sewer line, or repair to major assets. And any project exceeding $20,000 must be submitted to be part of the CIP as long as it meets one of the criteria listed here below. It's mostly any repair or replacement, land, new structures, anything that's not garage equipment. So basically any vehicles, anything but vehicles, unless those vehicles are specialized or more than $250,000. And the CIP lists the proposed projects along with important information such as location and cost. These projects are prioritized by the department, the planning commission, and the city manager. And as you can see on the chart on the left, shows how the costs are split by department for fiscal year 2022. And as you can see, water makes up nearly half the costs, followed by the general fund, streets, and sewer. And these four combine to make up about 91% of the requests for this year. There are a lot of reasons to prepare a CIP. It optimizes use of taxpayer dollars by creating a plan for major investments that the city needs to make. It helps departments work together when projects are similar, which saves time and money. And having a capital improvement plan can also encourage economic development and financial stability, as well as create transparency. The whole process starts with the departments. Department directors are responsible for having plans for future capital needs and submitting project requests on a standard template for OMB to review. The next step is once all the requests have been received, OMB reviews the requests and discusses any questions or concerns that they have with the departments. And next, a summary of requests is created and provided to the Planning Commission and the city manager for review. And that's part of what we're doing this evening. Following that, the Planning Commission and the city manager then review and rate each request based on priority. Some of these projects are selected to be included in the annual proposed budget, which is then presented to City Council in May. And any capital and projects included in the budget are approved as part of that budget by Council. And here's a quick timeline of the whole process, and it began on November 4th when the forms were sent to the departments, and they were requested to be returned by December 2nd. A summary of these requests is being presented to you tonight, and the next step is each commissioner will review and assign a priority rating to each request before your next meeting on February 23rd. And then I will collect these ratings and create a report that is submitted to the city manager for his consideration. And next is an example of the request form that is used by the departments to make their request. At the top of the form are fields to list the department, project name, estimated cost, funding, location, and priority ratings. And one thing that's important to note this year, and it's circled in that picture, is that priority ratings have changed for this year. You can see there are now 4 kinds of priority ratings that will be used, and these are imperative or must do, essential or should do, important or could do, and desirable, meaning if we're able to. You can see on this slide that there are criteria that a project request has to meet in order to be rated a specific priority, and we hope that this will allow us to be able to differentiate between the importance of different projects. The next portion of the form is a breakdown of the estimated cost by year, as well as the source of funds for each year. In this example, only a small amount of the total cost is expected to be incurred in the upcoming year, with the majority coming in future years. Next is an explanation of what the project is, why it's important, and any project progress that has been made to date. And finally, the last section covers the location of the project, how much of the project cost will be in years beyond the upcoming year, as well as whether the project is in accordance with the master plan, city council policy, and local, state, and federal regulations. Next are some of the major street projects that are planned, or at least requested for the next year. And these projects are currently in progress. The biggest project is the reconstruction of Mackinac Street between Hamilton Street and Alexander, which not only includes repairing the road, but also replacing the water main beneath the road. And we have several projects in this list that are very similar with road repair as well as the water main repair, including West Holland rehab from Woodbridge to Hamilton, the pier from 2nd to 4th, East Remington from Water to Jefferson, Adams Street, Cass Street, Hancock Street, and Ames. Next is the Wicks Park Drive project, which will be converting a portion of the road into a non-motorized trail that will become part of the Riverwalk Trail and also part of the statewide Iron Bell Trail that's being developed. The annual mill and resurface projects for this year are Fordney from Gallagher to Gratiot and Hess between the Center Street Bridge and Owen Street. The annual Cape Seal project is preventive maintenance performed on various streets to extend their life before major repairs are needed. Design work is being done for the reconstruction of the final part of Mackinac Street, with the repairs coming in future years. East Holland, near the bottom of the list, is also preventive maintenance and will be bid alongside the West Holland and East Remington projects. There will also be preventive maintenance on the Center Street Bridge. And finally, sidewalk repairs and ADA sidewalk ramps will continue to be done this year. Most of these new projects that are proposed for this year are lower cost than the projects that are currently underway. A local street reconstruction project is done every 2 years, with this year's project being Wadsworth from Lake State Rail Yard to Veterans Memorial Parkway. There will be annual repairs to concrete roads in the city beginning this year. 12th Street between Perkins and James and 17th Street between Walnut and Whittier will be milled and resurfaced using grant funds from the Community Development Block Grant Program. Preventive maintenance will be done on the Genesee and Holland bridges, and there are also plans for 2 traffic signal upgrades, one at the intersection of Gratiot, Mackinac, and Michigan, and the other at Alexander, Bay, and Court. Next are the planned water and sewer projects, and there are 6 of these. A redundant transmission feed on Junction Road will be installed, and that will improve service to the Frankenmuth area, as this area has been experiencing main breaks in recent years. Lead service line replacement will be a major project, as it has been for the previous couple of years, and will continue for a very long time. Sewer and water main maintenance has been an ongoing project. Wastewater discharged from the 14th Street facility travels through a ditch before reaching the river, and this ditch needs to be dredged to improve the flow to the river. And finally, work will begin to replace a 20-inch water main along Gratiot. And finally, these are some projects that were requested by the Public Works and Fire Departments. The parking lot at the boat launch and the road on Ojibwe Island need to be repaired. There are some projects in the cemeteries, including a chapel renovation at Forest Lawn, a sidewalk installation at Oakwood Cemetery, and drainage improvements for both. Along the Saginaw River include projects to replace the docks on Ojibwe Island and on the west bank, as well as bank stabilization on the east side of the river near MCVI. And finally, the fire department plans to purchase a new aerial truck and a new fire truck to improve the quality of their fleet. And I know I moved very quickly through that, so I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So, let me see. Stop sharing.
Brian, could you just reiterate maybe your timeline for when you want the commissioners to get back to you with their
Absolutely. You should have a list of all the projects that was sent in an email. We'll need you to review in the presentation I just did. We have a list of priority ratings. If you could review those and provide ratings for these different projects by your next meeting, which is February 23rd, I believe I said. And that would be the timeline.
Brian, was that package emailed to us today?
It was included with the email that I sent last week, or to you, Brenda. I think it was, what was that yesterday? I can send it out again after this meeting. How about that?
Thank you.
Brenda, you also have the document in the city council or manager's office waiting for you. So we have.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, what did I miss? I thought I copied everything. Okay. Thank you, Yolanda.
Brian, I have a question. Would you
waiting there for you.
Talk a little bit more about the difference between those last two, when we do the evaluation, the last two categories?
Sure. They are the could do and desirable. Yeah, it's more a could do is like something that, like it says, it could benefit the community, but may be delayed without detrimental effects to basic services. It could be like a new service, something that reduces energy consumption. Meanwhile, like desirable, it might be like a dream project or like something that sounds great, but may not be something that, if the budget is tight, that'll be the first thing that will be cut.
Brian, can you?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Prioritization schedule this year, how it's different than from last year? Sure.
Last year, we had a priority rating system that was 3 different ratings. Number 1 would be most important, 2 less important, and 3 was least important. But the problem was everybody who submitted, or most people who submitted these requests, put a 1 priority rating for everything. And so it made it really hard to differentiate what was actually important and what was something that person felt was important, but maybe could have hold off a little bit. And so now that we defined what these ratings are a little more descriptively, we hope that they would follow these requests a little bit more. And it seems like they might have a little bit better this year.
Also, this will help the commission as they go through and you rank it as how you also view the prioritization as well.
Mhm.
Any other questions? If not, thank you.
Okay, yeah. If you do have any questions in the future, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer anything you might have. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, the next item is to be a public hearing, case J20-0051, which is a special use permit for a child daycare center to be located at 1616 Lapeer. Is there anyone here who would like to comment on this case?
Hello.
Just go ahead, your name and
My name
address,
is
please.
Chantel Harris, located at 1616 Lapeer, in Saginaw 4601.
Go ahead.
I recently, a few months ago, got licensed to do child care here at my home. I didn't know about this process here, so I did follow the steps to go ahead and apply for a permit for a business license. I'm new to all of this. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You're here because our step of the process, this requires a special use permit because of the zoning.
Mhm.
Can you tell us, is this going to be operated by you alone, or do you have other people, employees, volunteers with you?
Right now, I'm currently doing it myself. I'm licensed for 6 children. I do plan on hiring 1 to 2 people in the near future, as I'm getting requests for child care.
Are there other questions from the commission? Is there anybody else here who wants to speak on this project?
I do, Bob. Ms. Harris, you indicated that your license was 6 right now. Are you looking to increase your license?
Yes, right now I'm actually in the process of having my basement remodeled. We had the city come out and mark the area where the gas line is and electric line is to put that egress window in. So within the next month or so, I'm looking to have that complete.
Okay, and then you're looking to go into how many children?
To 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to comment on this project? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I would like to say something.
Okay, delay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Deborah Gartley, and I live across the street from the 2219 Weber Street, and I would like to say that I object to the project because of the crime, because of the
Deborah, we are not on that project yet. We're still talking about.
I just got in. Okay, I'm
okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, because I was gonna say it's quiet over here. Real
I
quiet.
just didn't want it to get by. I just clicked on. Just was making sure I didn't miss out on anything. I apologize.
No problem. That one's next.
All right,
Okay,
just to
thank
make
you.
sure, is there anybody else who wants to comment on the special use permit for the daycare center at 1616 Lapeer? Okay. If not, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. public hearing has been closed.
Thank you.
Now, is there a motion to approve the special use permit for child daycare center at 1616 Lapeer?
So moved, Brenda.
Second, Commissioner Dallas.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Miller, would you call the roll, please?
Tom Brayley,
Support.
Zenobia Dallas,
Yes.
Robert Hanley,
Yes.
Yolanda Jones,
Yes.
Brenda Moore,
Yes.
Jack Nash,
Yes.
Jim Nightingale,
Yes.
and Bill Ossash.
Yes.
All right, that motion has been approved.
All right, thank you.
You.
The next item is a public hearing on case J210052, which is a special use permit for a marijuana establishment to be located at 2219 Weber. Is there anybody here who would like to comment on this matter?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Sherry Pugh. Can y'all?
Your address, please?
2216 Weber Street. I'm directly across the street from the old dollar store. And I've been here probably about 9 years. And the neighborhood was, on the bad side, kind of, but seemed like it's done improved. And for the last couple of years, a lot of young mothers have moved in the neighborhood, and they have between 4 and 6 children. And they goes up to the store back and forth. Kids are walking to school, to the store. The school bus let the students, when they were in school, would let the students off at that parking lot at the dollar store. And a lot of stuff happened from people crying, people passing through. The liquor store, basically, that's where a lot of, crime happened, coming from people being at the liquor store. And I feel that a marijuana shop, I can see young kids out there because, we have the good ones and the bad ones, but I can see kids out there going in there, getting people to buy them how they sell it, candy, whatever they do, and giving it to them. And it used to be a lot of people walking the street, up and down the street, not doing nothing. All that has seemed to have left. You might find 1 or 2 people, a vagrant person, somebody just all day just walking up and down the street. Now, to me, I try to keep my yard up. I won Cadret 4 for best kept yard. I have a waterfall pond in my yard. The kids enjoy seeing it, and I like going outside, looking at my flowers, being outside, and I just feel that's going to be a lot of unnecessary traffic over there. And also, I believe that different sides of town are going to run into conflict. When I say north, east, south side, people will be going there, certain people, and I believe that you're going to find enemies from them different sides, and I don't feel it's going to be good for the neighborhood, and I think it's going to be dangerous, for the neighborhood, and I don't see any good in a marijuana store being put right there when we're trying to bring the neighborhood up. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Do we want to have the project? Yep,
Yes.
so John, I don't know.
Is there anybody here from the project who would like to speak?
Yes, I can do that. Can everybody hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, my name's Andy Andre, Avanti Development Group, 330 Enterprise Court, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, 48302. Mr. Chairman, let me run through a couple of the items and be happy to answer any questions at the end. As was just stated, this building is currently vacant, was a former dollar store. Before that, I think it was built in 1993 as a drugstore, convenience type store. The current condition of the building, it's pretty good. I've been out there a couple different times. It was well built. It's something that is very useful and can be repurposed pretty easily. The zoning is B1. It's zoned appropriately for the use that we're asking for. It's located on a 0.63 acre property. When we look at the redevelopment of the property, as I mentioned, the condition of the building is in pretty good shape. We're looking at doing repairs such as, some minor repairs to the block work, some different cosmetic type of things overall, but we can certainly enhance the aesthetics of the building with painting the brick block and the metal siding awning that's part out there. As part of the submittal package, we included the building elevation with what our proposed improvements would look like, and I think it would go very well. One of the key things, obviously, is do we meet the parking requirements, and we do. 33 parking spaces required, 33 parking spaces are being provided. We do also meet the ADA parking requirement as well. With the existing lights, there are lights out there. We're proposing to replace those exterior lights with LED fixtures. So they'll also have house side shields on them, so it reduces the glare off site. We will provide the necessary stormwater management requirements. We did receive a couple comments that are already been addressed, and we're ready to resubmit those back as well. So from that perspective, from a use perspective, we meet the requirements, we meet the buffer requirements as well. Some of the key features I think that we also like to touch on is we're cognizant of the fact that we want to make sure that we're controlling odor and the possibility of any odor. So as part of the design, and it's included in the package that was submitted, we incorporate activated carbon systems within our retail area. We also include photoionization technology that it's basically it zaps what comes through the mechanical systems. And one of the key things, obviously, is security. That was brought up, and we can certainly talk about it. As part of the package that we submitted as well, cameras, both indoor, outdoor. We are talking about a restricted use. This would be a state licensed facility. So there are a number of obviously security measures, security plan that we would be incorporated as part of the operations. And typical with that is also having security on site as well. So we feel that we're meeting the requirements. We hit on all the key points. I think we're going, even up and above a little bit with the lighting. And if you look at the landscaping plan, we are proposing quite a bit of landscaping. Right now there is none. We're actually proposing to do some removal of some pavement adjacent to the building, do some foundation landscaping, as well as some streetscaping as well. Be happy to answer any questions when it comes up, Mr. Chairman.
I have a question. People that come there will it be where people standing around in the parking lot, getting high and stuff like that? Why bring that over here in the neighborhood? I know it's got to be.
Barry, you already spoke, and this also is a public hearing, so you just voice your concerns. You don't. Yeah. Just voice your concerns.
This is your opportunity to address the Planning Commission. Each speaker has one opportunity to do that, and it's not an opportunity for the speakers to debate amongst each other.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, like it's gonna pass. Anyway.
Well, my name is Deborah. I would like to say something, and I haven't spoke.
would you give your full name and your address, please?
Sure. My name is Deborah Gartley, and I'm at 2220 Weber Street, directly across the street from the building. Weber.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my concern is the different crimes that has been committed over here with cameras and all of the above. I've witnessed shooting. I've witnessed children getting shot. I've witnessed innocent woman getting killed coming from the Weber food store. I've seen people run up in the stores with cameras, killing somebody who they don't like. I mean, you know, it's just a residential area, and I feel like it's already really not all that safe over here. I have 23 windows in my house. I've had bullets to come through my window, and I do not want to be a victim, the next victim, or my grandchildren. My grandchildren, I raised 3 daughters here. I've been here 20 years. I've just seen so many things happen in this neighborhood. And I just think, you know, all the cosmetic things, that's fine and everything, but when it comes to people's lives, it can't be replaced. And I don't want to be in a crossfire of any sort. And I don't want my children or any other people in the neighborhood's children or elderly people. I know a couple of people in the neighborhood, they take care of their parents. They sit out in the yard, you know, and they sometimes, some of them wander off. And, you know, I just feel like I just don't agree with it. I just don't.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Take a moment, please.
Is there anybody else who would like to comment on this case?
I would like a moment, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim Furta. I'm the Director of Facilities for Saginaw Public Schools. Here, more specifically representing Saginaw High School, which is located at 3100 Weber Street. Currently, the proposed location would be approximately 6 blocks from Saginaw High School, which will be becoming a middle school in the next couple of years here. I share in the district's concern of the proximity. While I know it falls within the zoning restrictions of 1,000 feet, we feel that that's too close to a school, and we know there are other school entities close by. Furthermore, we don't know how it was decided that 1,000 feet was the minimum there, but we do wish we could have had some say within that, as we obviously represent numerous communities throughout the city of Saginaw. So just voicing our opinion that the school district objects to this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this project?
We don't have a camera. What?
For the delay.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I have 2 letters that I received. One is from Brenda Montgomery regarding this. As per our telephone conversation a few days back, the letter is in response to the public hearing notice 2219 Weber. My vote on this marijuana establishment is definitely no, although the other establishment on Sheridan is outside the city limits, not another one on Sheridan. Saginaw might want tax revenue, but you need to choose another location, the west side of the river perhaps. Since federal law still hasn't legalized this substance, federally insured banks are not able to handle money from this enterprise. It has come to my attention that some of the money therefore is laundered or even kept on premise, not at this site. The second letter that I received, it's from Kirsten Taube at 2009 Sheridan. And it says, I'm writing a response to the green card sent to me regarding the property at 2219 Weber, Saginaw for a marijuana permit. I live at 2009 Sheridan Avenue, which happens to be right next to the mentioned property. I also own the 2 lots next to the property. I do not want a marijuana facility next to me. I foresee nothing but trouble, robberies, shootings, etc. We have trouble on the particular corner anyway, and these would just add to make the trouble worse. We already have a facility just down the street in Sheridan. They seem to have a high security fence. Are they putting up fences here? This is a federal regulation that I am aware of in such places. My main concern is the violence, robberies, drug addicts, shooting, etc. I do not want it. Sincerely, Kirsten Taube. And that's all I have received, other than the 2 people who have spoken and wrote also letters, but they've already commented publicly.
Thank you. I would remind commissioners, if you're not going to speak, mute your microphone. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this proposal? Hearing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Dallas, I move we close the public hearing.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The public hearing has been closed. Do we have a motion to approve the granting of a special land permit on this item on Weber, 2219 Weber? Is there a proposal?
This is Commissioner Dallas. I move we approve case number J21-0052, the site plan review for special use marijuana retail establishment at 2219 Weber.
Okay, support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
Brenda, you're muted.
I'd like to ask the gentleman that reported out, and I'm sorry, I thought I was talking earlier, but I was on mute. I need to know, is there going to be a fenced-in area like down on the other end of Sheridan? What is the security? I mean, what is going to be the security for that area?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, this is Andy Andre again. I'd be happy to address that. One of the things is hearing, obviously, Miss Brenda had spoken about some of the issues that are ongoing even right now. We're talking about a licensed facility that will have security on premise. So that security doesn't just extend within the building, that security extends outside the building as well. And not just cameras, but we're talking about physical boots on the ground, okay? And as part of that, one of the things is there is no consumption on premises, and there is no loitering that will be tolerated as well. And so we're very diligent. We have other locations that are in operation, and we have this security policy in place that implements not just inside, but extends outside. As far as the question with the fencing right now, we don't have a location that's fenced in. There is a wall. If you had an opportunity, maybe flip through the pages, I think you see there already is a physical barrier. There's a wall between the property to the north and also the property to the west. I think it's about 5 to 6 feet tall. And so there already is that. We propose to retain that as part of this plan as well. It's like a masonry wall, screen wall.
I have a question for Attorney Lusk. When we vote on this, as part of this discussion, do we have to establish a record for reasons for or against this particular proposal in this discussion?
That is correct, especially if the matter is voted down. You need to create a record as to why it is being denied.
Okay. I have a question, I guess, to the project proposer. You say you have a security policy. Is there a security plan?
Yes, there's a requirement that the security plan is in place for licensing on that. What I can say as far as what we incorporated on the plans, we did identify camera locations, both interior and exterior. And as I had mentioned, we would have security on premises, actual manned security on premises as well.
Okay.
If I could just add to, the applications require that they provide those security plans to the police department for review, and each of these plans have been reviewed and approved by the police department.
So do they come back to us, Robert, or we just got to go with people saying that they're going to do it?
It's primarily the security plan typically has to do with the cameras and the locations of the cameras, the areas in which they cover to make sure that everything is being viewed and also recorded.
That's Mr. Chairman. That's true as well. As Bob had mentioned, the police chief did issue a letter January 25th indicating getting interference. Excuse me. That the chief did issue January 25th a letter saying he's reviewed the security plan at our location and meets the requirements set forth.
There's not a picture.
Can I ask a question to staff? Hey, Bob, how did they establish the number of feet away from schools with the zoning?
Mr. Nash, if Amy doesn't answer that, I will.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amy could talk. Yeah, this was over her whole process.
It's actually part of the state law.
The ordinance wasn't taken lightly. I can tell you that it was a months and months and months long process between myself and city staff who worked diligently in trying to produce an ordinance that took into concern things like these sensitive uses. And there were a lot of different scenarios that were ran with different setback requirements in that and programmed into the city's GIS system. And what ultimately occurred is the zoning ordinance that was adopted both, first by you folks on Planning Commission and then ultimately went to City Council for approval. And that the setbacks that are within that ordinance were, in staff's opinion, the best scenarios for providing some distance from those sensitive uses while allowing for meaningful development of these industries within the community, which was a policy that council had established that they wanted to do. So in looking at schools, for example, there's actually a lot of schools within the city of Saginaw. And so various scenarios were ran to determine what was the best setback that would allow some distancing from those schools, again, while allowing for meaningful development within the city.
This is Bill Ostash. If I can actually add to that, and Amy is 100% correct. When we were doing that, even under the state statute or the state law, they established the 1,000 foot perimeter of schools. The council had the opportunity to reduce that, but we kept it at the 1,000 feet. And that was my decision for it.
I have a question about student mobility from Saginaw High or the new middle school. Are students, the majority of students, most students, few students, are they moved out of that building on city buses, on school district buses, or are they pretty much on foot? My question is, I guess, how many kids from the school are going to be down on the corner of Weber and Sheridan in a normal school day, at the end of a school day?
Would you like me to answer that, sir?
Sure, yeah.
I would say about half of the population is bused at Saginaw High, but you probably still have close to anywhere between 150 and 200 that are walking as groups that head towards that area.
No.
Is there a bus stop on that corner?
The one, I don't know about a city bus stop. I know there's school buses that use that parking lot currently.
Don't leave out Francis Ray Academy. That's down the street too.
No,
straight out of the street.
There is.
Any other questions or comments from members of the commission? Are we ready for a vote? Ms. Miller, would you call the roll?
All right. Tom Braley.
Approve.
Zenobia Dallas.
Approve.
Bob Hanley.
No.
Yolanda Jones.
Approve.
Brenda Moore. You're muted, Brenda.
Oh,
Sorry, I only heard part of that.
all right, no.
Okay. Jack Nash.
No.
Jim Nightingale.
Approve.
Bill Ostash.
Approve.
All right, that motion was approved. Question, Amy, since we did have some no's, should we have reasoning? But it ultimately passed.
I mean, when anyone votes no on something, they should state their basis for it. Yes.
Okay, so Hanley.
My concern was the movement of students from the school building down the street.
Okay. All right. Brenda Moore. Oh, something's happening with Brenda. We might have to come back to her. Jack Nash.
It would alter the neighborhood tremendously, but also the distance to the schools bothers me. It's almost too close to multiple schools.
Okay. Brenda, can we hear you now?
Yes, I'm sorry. My computer is doing what it wants tonight. You know, I have a problem with the school.
Okay.
Because we do have schools on both ends. We got Francis Ray on one end and Saginaw High on the other. I guess I'm concerned, but is that truly 1,000 feet?
And you don't even want kids walking by your place.
And the children.
Yep, it is 1,000 feet. So we actually, when we receive requests for any of the properties, we have a GIS mapping system where we can put it in, and we have every single buffer in that map. So it shows us how close it is to every single different sensitive use. So, okay, that was ultimately approved though. So, thank you. We can move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bring down the neighborhood.
Oh, Bob, you're muted.
I hate this process. All right, again, we are having a public hearing on case J210053, special use permit for a marijuana establishment to be located at 3307 Davenport. Is there anybody associated with this project who would like to speak on it?
This is Trevor with City of Saginaw Harbor. I'm the president of Great Natural Remedies. We're a Michigan-based seed-to-sale cannabis company. I've been on these meetings for the last couple of months, but I'm a product of Saginaw. I grew up there. I graduated from Arthur Hill in 1987, and I'm excited about the opportunity here to work with local businessmen and try to bring really good operations to the community in the city. Our company, just as background, has 8 dispensary locations, all under different various stages of development, and 1 extraction lab, which creates products for the industry. We're experienced. We've been operating in this legal cannabis industry for 2 years here in the state of Michigan, and specifically just outside the city at the Spalding Township location, which is the old Timbertown bowling alley. Again, we are proud to be helping out local businessmen in the city to be able to provide value to cannabis consumers in the city of Saginaw. So what we're asking for today is a special use permit for a marijuana retailer at 3307 Davenport. This project is to remodel an existing structure, and it complies with all the zoning and ordinance. It is 500 feet away from the special use permit that was approved in November with the old bank building located at Warwick and State. I do know the operators of that business, and we do have a different business model. So we do also compete in other areas around the state, and we get along nicely. So I don't see any conflict here. There are several benefits for us coming to the city. Our presence alone will increase the capital investment and also the value of nearby residents and businesses. And in addition to our $4,000 license fee, this location isn't going to be very much as the other ones, but we're looking at about a $20,000 to $30,000 annual contribution to the city via revenue from the marijuana excise tax. Whereas I believe last month, the one I was suggesting on Gratiot would be closer to 80. And obviously this creates more jobs. So we're excited about this opportunity and the location. And again, we are partnering with the local Saginaw businessman on this project. And while it is very small, we intend to market it as such. We are going to be catering to a specific consumer. We're going to be offering a limited and specific product mix to attract that certain market. So we respectively request approval of our special use permit for 3307 Davenport, and I'll turn it over to John Morey to discuss our site plan. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. John Morey with D&M site here in Saginaw. I just want to go over a couple of little details on this site, 3307 Davenport. The property size is 117 feet of road frontage on Davenport, 150 feet of frontage on Morrison Street. The property is just less than a half an acre, 0.4, and it is currently zone B1. So it's zoned by right. This site, we moved this site over from the Ramada Inn that's next door, and I believe that Parish is on tonight and might want to have something to add. The existing building is just over 1,000 square feet. It is the current Stan's Locksmith building. Being a site that small, our parking requirements are small also. We do have 8 parking spots provided, which meets the criteria. We will be removing one of the curb cuts on Davenport M58 and leaving the westerly cut farthest away from Morrison. We will be basically tearing the whole site up, removing all the storm sewer that's in there now and replacing it with 24-inch pipe to meet the storage requirement per the city's requirement. So we'll be providing over the amount, 1,600 cubic feet of storage with a 6-inch outlet then coming over to Morrison Street for our discharge. We do meet the landscaping requirements, and as well as, Trevor, you can speak on the security aspects of the state licensing, but all of that has been submitted in the package. The one thing about this site is that there isn't a cross-access easement that is in effect with the Davenport Inn, Ramada Inn property. So we do need to keep that access between these two properties. That was granted from the previous owners of both of these sites. And so there is a contiguation of that property for cross-access for both those sites. It has the existing water service hookup and sanitary hookup. Those won't be required on this. And obviously we meet all of the city's criteria for radius zonings, or we wouldn't be here in front of you tonight. If anybody has any questions about any of the civil engineering aspects of this site, I'd be more than happy to go over them with anybody. I don't know if the owner wants to speak. Trevor, did you see if Paresh wanted to say anything tonight?
I'm not sure unless he needs to be involved. He is on the phone call for questions if needed, as am I for the operations side.
How many jobs, Trevor? I know you said it is in the old stand building. How many jobs are you looking at?
Right. So, in broad comparison, we were looking at least 14 for the Gratiot project. That's a larger building. On this project, we're going to be probably looking closer to 8 jobs.
And will there be security at that building as well?
Excuse me. Yes. Just like our Sheridan facility, we have armed 24-hour security on the ground. We have high-tech cameras with, all the requirements from the MRA, the state, including we're installing some new monitoring, motion sensor, remote monitoring technology in all of our locations. Okay,
so your answer is yes.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting for it to be like Sheridan. That's like
right.
Fortress almost, and because this is a much smaller building, and I was just curious about the security that you might have. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you're on mute.
When is this going to end? All right, is there anybody else who would like to speak on this issue of 3307 Davenport special use permit?
Hi, my name's Russell Inman. I own the home at 3445 Binscarth Avenue, 2 blocks away from this location. And I'm very supportive of buildings and businesses being reutilized and keeping jobs within the city. And I am in support of this location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Russell, could you repeat that address? I've never heard you say that address before.
3445 Binscarth Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
There are any other people here that would like to discuss, make comment on this particular proposal? Hearing none, could I have a motion to close the public meeting?
So moved, Commissioner Dallas.
Support Ostash.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no.
Aye.
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 The public hearing has been closed. Is there a proposal a motion to approve case J210053 special use permit for the marijuana establishment to be located at 3307 Davenport?
So moved, Braley.
Second, Dallas.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion from the commissioners? Hearing none. Ms. Miller, would you call the roll?
Tom Braley,
Approve.
Zenobia Dallas,
Approve.
Robert Hanley,
Yes.
Yolanda Jones,
Support.
Brenda Moore,
Support.
Jack Nash,
Support.
Jim Nightingale,
Approve.
Bill Ostash.
Approve.
All right, this motion was approved.
All right, thank you. The next item is a public hearing on case J200054, special use permit for marijuana establishment to be located at 1321 Court Street. Is there anybody here associated with this project who would like to comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Jay Wheeler, William Kibbe and Associates, engineer in the city of Saginaw. We are glad to bring this project to you tonight. It is at the corner of Court Street and Woodbridge. 70 feet fronts on Court Street and 101.5 on Woodbridge. We're looking at remodeling an existing building on that corner. You may be more familiar with the gas station, the Marathon station on the opposite corner. We're on the southeast corner. And there is approximately 1855 square feet of building there that would be remodeled into an establishment for retail sales. We do meet the parking requirements based on the square footage. 7 spaces are required, and we were able to get 7 spaces on the site. In addition to bringing the existing site up to the current stormwater management ordinance that the city of Saginaw has. Currently, that site is all hard surface, but there is no stormwater management plan, at least that we could find in the records. And so as part of this project, we will be putting some underground storage under the parking lot, and that will alleviate some stress on the Woodbridge sewer by providing some additional stormwater storage and detention. So there'll be a 6-inch connection into the Woodbridge sewer. We also have exterior lighting on the building, new LED lighting that'll help with security as well as cameras and security. And in the front, we also have projected or proposed some concrete planters that would be outside the right-of-way on the private property, and those would be low-level plantings and help green that area up along there. There's a lot of hard surface asphalt and concrete, so it'll be nice to get some landscaping and soften that streetscape a little bit. With me tonight also is Rita, the project developer, and I would like to turn it over to her for any comments she might have regarding operations of the facility.
Jay, thank you so much. I'm actually going to jump in here. And good evening, honorable members of the committee. I thank you for this opportunity to present our project. I know you're all tired by now. In the interest of saving time, I'll try to my best to present quickly. My name is Jessica Ruvain, and I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for Yuma Way, and with the proposed DBA of Courtside Gardens here in Saginaw. On the call with us are co-founders Rita Sluk and Kirill Merkulov, as well as Sarah Kiesja, our local manager. A little bit about us. Our executive team offers a wealth of knowledge to the businesses we own and operate. We bring 172 years of combined experience in highly regulated industries, including legal cannabis, healthcare, law, finance, real estate, land development, and technology. And since 2015, we have organically grown into a multi-state cannabis operator, employing over 100 cannabis professionals, 76% of which are women and minorities. We have 27 active cannabis licenses, 6 retail locations, 2 cultivation facilities, and the nation's first licensed social consumption establishment, all with 0 licensing violations. We also have an additional 11 facilities in development, with several more in planning stages. We have appeared on NBC, ABC, Fox News, as well as the New York Times, Washington Post, and the Associated Press. We are active in our communities, contributing to neighborhood organizations, COVID relief efforts, and collaborating with municipal and state governments and law enforcement agencies. Our educational programs include research and classes at leading universities, such as Colorado State. We have shared our expertise with government officials from the City of Grand Rapids, the Rotary Club, the Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division, and others. Our impeccable record speaks for itself, with over $9 million in generated tax revenue alone. We believe in build-outs, not buyouts, reinvesting in our employees and the local communities we serve. We take care of our staff, meeting our extraordinary industry standards and pay, providing excellent training, and creating endless advancement opportunities. And we have not had a single layoff due to COVID-19. Our marketing efforts focus on customer retention, responsible brand development, and SEO. We are experienced and proud operators, contributing millions of dollars into local neighborhoods. We are very excited to expand our business into the city of Saginaw. We have reached out to 278 addresses within a 1,200-foot radius, extending the ordinance-specified notice area requirements by over 10 times. We are pleased to have received an overwhelmingly supportive response while being able to address every concern voiced. The 1321 Court Street site is perfect for a retail cannabis establishment, with 1,800 square feet of structurally sound building located at a signalized intersection off Court and North Woodbridge Street. The site is currently used as an auto detailing shop with a dilapidated building and a nuisance non-conforming parking. Our courtside garden location will greatly enhance the area with a site improvement budget of over $700,000. And with funds already set aside, we will be implementing the following: a new facade and exterior facelift, beautiful flowers planted along Court Street, extensive exterior LED lighting, state-of-the-art quality air and odor control with carbon filtration and negative air pressure, and parking and egress eliminated from Court Street, but with ample newly paved parking and ADA in the back. Increased security in the area will be achieved at our 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. operation via our superior 24-hour interior and exterior surveillance cameras and monitored alarm. We'll have on-site security and 0 tolerance for loitering. We will prevent access to minors with redundant ID verification. The theft risk will be further mitigated by secured product storage safe, restricted access areas, and comprehensive standard operating procedures, as well as direct cooperation with Saginaw Police and surrounding neighbors. This location will contribute to the city's growth by creating jobs for Saginaw residents, new business for contractors and vendors, increased real estate values, and a steady revenue stream for the city, estimated at about $83K, while attracting robust consumer traffic for surrounding businesses. To summarize, Yuma Way possesses extensive experience and impeccable industry operating record. We promptly submitted a marijuana establishment application. We have met and exceeded city zoning and site plan development standards. We have received a letter of approval from the Saginaw Police Department and support from the vast majority of neighboring businesses and residents. As we look forward to being a valuable partner to the city and Saginaw residents, we respectfully request that this committee approve our application for a special use permit for a marijuana establishment at 1321 Court Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here who would like to comment on this proposal?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of letters that I received. This one is from Daniel Lair, DC Painting and Remodeling Company, 1317 Court Street. As the business owner of 1317 Court Street, directly next door to the above mentioned location, I have very strong reservations for the operation of such a business at that location. We already have an awful amount of crime in that area of the city. The area is already home to everything from murder to blight, with no presence in the area to deter the already present issues at hand, and the influx of more people and the other problems will increase as well. Another large issue facing my business directly is the limited capacity for parking. I'm constantly having to ask people to move their vehicles from blocking areas to my building and get no help from surrounding businesses in keeping the traffic in appropriate parking areas. It is a constant battle, which this will clearly add to. I do not think this business will bring any bonus to the area, just more issues. The next letter I received is from John Milne. Comments for the public hearing, January 22nd. My name is John Milne, 508 West Remington Street, Saginaw, Michigan. These comments are from me as an individual and not as a representative of a group or organization. I ask that this commission to deny this application on the basis that the owner of the property, 30924 Community Property LLC and 30948 Grand River Avenue, Farmington, Michigan, has failed to properly supervise its current tenant, Daniel Ortega, 1321 Court, and should not be relied on to supervise the proposed tenant, Yuma Way, Michigan, LLC, South Kingston Court, Aurora, Colorado. On or about July 1st, 2020, owner began to rent or lease the property to Mr. Ortega. Most commercial leases contain language requiring the tenant to properly maintain utilities to the property. Since moving in and opening his business, Mr. Ortega has failed to pay a single water or sewer bill and is now nearly $900 in arrears to the city of Saginaw. It would appear that the tenant has relied on state-mandated water shutoff moratorium to escape paying these charges. City of Saginaw policy is to make the owner or next applicant for water and sewer services to pay any arrearages before new service can be turned on. A string of tenants who do not pay for utility service is not in the best interest of the city. Please consider these comments in your deliberations this evening. And that's all the comments that I have received.
Bob, would it be appropriate for us to address just the comments with respect to the current tenant?
Yes.
I don't think that that's appropriate.
No.
No.
Okay.
Was that? Can we please make a comment?
Hi. I wanted to speak today. Hear me okay?
Sorry, I think Rita was just going to make a comment first, right?
Oh.
If that's okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you so much. We would like to address a few things. One pertains to the parking. With the current size of the building and our current operations, we expect that we would need only about 4 to 5 parking spaces. City requires 7 parking spaces, and that's what we have. We could probably fit more, but we didn't find the need for our operations. Currently, location definitely need a big facelift and tender loving care, as well as parking management. There's way more cars parked at the location, so we could see how people would be concerned, but our operations would have much less cars than there currently is and parked illegally. I did speak personally to the next door neighbor, and he didn't sound concerned on a phone call with me, so I'm surprised to hear his concern right now. And also just wanted to let you know that the building is being under contract and purchased by related entity, those are going to be not the same owner. We will make sure that all city and county bills for all utilities and taxes and everything else will be paid promptly. That site will be 100% compliant in every possible way there is.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment on this project?
Yeah, Trevor Wisniewski. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Trevor Wisniewski, Kego Harbor, Michigan. My group obtained a special use permit last month for 110 Mason, which is 1215 Court Street, which is 1 block away from this location. So first off, I would like to say that I did mention today and last month, I welcome competition, but what I'd like to talk about, not competition, operations intended by the ordinance and the intentions of the council. And if these separation distances are not applied, which is a 500-foot buffer between marijuana establishments, it becomes irrelevant with all of these new locations, and it's going to cause a very large problem for the city, not just here, but in other areas, as I will explain. When I asked planning commissions, a city council, I've asked Janet Santos many things. I got a reply that said that they spoke with the city attorney about my concerns, and she said that the process is not dissimilar to other communities. There's 4 steps. You receive pre-qualification from the state, pre-qual from the city, obtain your state license, and you get a license from the city. Very simple. I have my pre-qualification. That's not a problem. So now we talk about pre-qualification from the actual city. And according to the ordinance, it specifically says in the licensing ordinance, all applications for establishments that comply with all the requirements for the application and the requirements of this code will be accepted by the clerk as a qualified applicant. And then it says provisional licenses will be issued by the clerk to qualified applicants. So it's worthy to note from an email I have from Janet Santos that this licensing process is not first come served. She specifically states whoever has a completed application will get the pre-qualification. So as long as this group that's on the phone right now, the 1321, and our group, which is 1 block away, submit our business documents, which we both have, both of us get a special use permit, which you're, voting on tonight, both of us will get a pre-qualification from the city. That is what's been explained to me by multiple people at the city, which is a provisional license. And please note that in the ordinance, it states that giving this license is a pre-qual for 1 year with an attestation for the state of Michigan saying that I have the opportunity to build a dispensary for 1 year at the state of Michigan, and it's an attestation the city is going to provide me, and that's in the ordinance for 1 year. So say we both get that. The next step is a state license. That means both of us are going to do our build outs. Both of us will get our inspections done. And no matter who finishes first, both of us will get our state license because we have this 1 year pre-qualification from the city. At this point, when we get issued this pre-qualification from the city, you can't stop us. It says right in the ordinance specifically, because it says we have 1 year to build out. You have the golden ticket, Trevor. You have 1 year to build out. And if you can build out and get a state license, the next step listed in the ordinance says we will issue you our permit. And we obviously have to have a certificate of occupancy and things like that, but you need that for your state license anyway. Because what I want to tell you about is once you get the city license, nowhere in the licensing order does it state that the clerk is going to go back and look at separation distances. It says that nowhere in the licensing ordinance. Separation distances are only mentioned in your ordinance, the zoning ordinance. So, it really has to be applied in this meeting, because once Janet, the clerk, issues a provisional license, it does not say that she is going to go back and say, are you by another dispensary? It does not say that anywhere. So both of us, if this gets approved tonight, you will have 2 dispensaries there, hands down. And changing separation distance or anything like that is not going to work, because right now they're being ignored anyway, because you have applied every separation distance except the marijuana one. So that's not going to help anything. The only way to fix this is to apply what the ordinance says, which is a 500-foot buffer between the distance between establishments. You issue a special use permit, you let us have a year to build out. If I can't do it, these people are next in line and they can try next year.
I'd like to take a moment to respond to the council and address some of the things we've heard from our potential competitor. And of course, we also welcome competition in the city. However, I would like to say through our extensive conversations with the planning department and our understanding of the ordinance, I do, of course, have a legal background and have thoroughly reviewed the requirements of this ordinance. And it's our understanding that in order to proceed, you need to have a completed application with the city. And what a completed application requires is also the city's determination with regard to distances. And part of that will be determined by whose application is considered wholly complete first. And as I understand it, the city has yet to determine whose application has been completed first. What I understand is the Great Lakes application, that requires building on a vacant piece of property, and we'll have to address quite a few considerations that our facility will not have to address, and we will be able to open our doors far sooner than that other location. And, if this gentleman here would like to apply as a backup after the approval of our location, we certainly welcome his efforts.
Hi, this is Anthony Denha from 3446 State Street, Saginaw, Bloom Cannabis. I would like to comment on this case here because I've been listening to both parties as it relates to this buffer zone. So that it's a very important issue that I think needs clarity before we allow this approval to go through. That's a decision the Planning Commission tends to make. But with that being said, if Trevor's location is within 500 feet of this proposed location, and based on how we have looked at this, or based on how we've reviewed the ordinance, if a site were to get site plan approved with special use permit, including full review from Janet Santos, the city clerk, on the application, and is granted provisional license, then that 500-foot buffer should be established at that point. So my understanding, and I sat in on that last Planning Commission meeting, Trevor's Court Street location was approved along with our location. Therefore, if he has already received site plan approval with special use permit, then that right there should establish that 500-foot buffer. And that should be applied across the board through all cannabis companies trying to enter the city of Saginaw market.
I do want to note there are additional requirements besides site plan approval, including insurance.
Jessica, you can only speak once, so I let you speak twice. Sorry.
My apologies. Maybe my partner Kirill would like to speak to that.
There also there's a point later on when the commission can ask questions specifically, which they will likely have things that you can comment on too. This is just voicing concerns across the board on the project.
Thank you, Cassie. I'd like to point out that this special use...
I'm sorry, could we have your name and address, please?
Yes, Kirill Merkelov. I'm one of the co-founders of UMI. I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to point out that special use permit merely says that the permission is given by the zoning committee or planning committee to proceed with this type of business. What happens if Trevor, in this instance, decides not to proceed? What happens if a third party decides to open a new cannabis dispensary within another 500 radius? What happens if something doesn't come out right? What happens if other factors weigh in that are unforeseen at this point? We simply cannot legally apply the 500-foot distance at this point in time. There's physically no way to make that determination. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment on this proposal?
Yes, I would.
Hi,
My name is
yes.
Kim. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'll keep this brief. I just wanted to comment today. My name is Shrestha Nason. Saginaw, I wanted to speak to you today. I visited the Yuma Way store in Bay City, and I personally think that Cova Street and Woodbridge would be a great location for one, especially as someone who frequents Saginaw regularly, visiting family and staying with them and friends and everything, and partially owning a house there myself with my brother. I think that it would be a great idea. And I really like the fact that they're renovating an existing building that needs care instead of rebuilding a completely separate one on a different piece of land. And I just wanted to say I'm in support of Yuma Way, and that's it.
Could you tell me your address? I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry?
Could you tell me your address again? I missed it.
Saginaw.
I need like an actual address. Sorry.
748 South Park Avenue, Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay, thank you.
48607.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this issue?
Yes, I would like to speak. My name is Kimberly Stepansky. My address is 2804 Orchard Lake Road, Suite 208, Kego Harbor, Michigan, 48320. I am the attorney for Great Lake Natural Remedies, and I would like to just go over a little bit of the marijuana establishment zoning ordinance. There are a few things that are at odds within the ordinance, and specifically speaking to the 500-foot rule. So if we look at 153.607 in the definitions, a marijuana establishment or establishment shall mean a grower, safety compliance facility, processor, retailer, secure transporter, or excess grower licensed by the state in accordance with the Act. Licensed by the state in accordance with the Act. This implies that you need to be licensed by the state to be a marijuana establishment. We then go to 153.0611, authorized marijuana establishment. In A, your zoning ordinance provides a marijuana establishment is not eligible for a state license. That wording is completely at odds with the language that I provided in your definitions. So if you do not have to be a licensed state facility, we go to B1, the separation distances, G, 500 feet of another marijuana establishment location. That should be applied at the time that the special use permit is issued. And there should not be another special use permission issued within that 500 feet. All of the other issues from A to E have been applied. So there's no reasoning legally why G would not be applied as well. The Planning Commission already considered separation distances for the special use permit. So the 500-foot requirement is legally enforced at the time of the special use permit issuance. So I am asking that you deny the special use request for 1321 Court Street because they are only a block away from our location at 110 South Mason. And if not deny, I would ask this commission to reevaluate and go back and look at the definitions in 153.067 and 153.600 as far as how those go together, because they are at odds with each other. So I respectfully request that you deny or at least table this issue until those issues can be resolved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this project?
There is. Hi, my name is Robert Denha with 700 Gratiot in Saginaw, Michigan. So, you know, representing Skymint as our tenant, the property on 700 Gratiot has also been approved, site plan approved, special use approved. And on that site, we will be doing a new construction build. And this current situation we have at hand is extremely important for the very fact that for the city, I think would definitely welcome all investments, especially those who are doing new construction. Now, if at this moment you were to approve UMOA, what could likely happen is similar to what Trevor said. You would have an issue with two companies being licensed within that 500 buffer. So at this stage, should you, anybody who's been pre-approved and a new company comes to get approved within that 500 buffer, I believe this committee should not approve that for the very fact that that's already had a special use permit. So if I'm going to be constructing a new build and then 3 months into my construction, somebody within 500 feet decides to take an existing building, put a little bit of paint on it, and has the ability to open 2 months before me, and within that 500-foot buffer, my new construction, you know, over $1 million investment, there'd be a major issue there. So here at this committee, if there's already been approved locations, that buffer really should be established to prevent things going further down the road and more issues happening. So, you know, I ask that the committee look at that. I think it's a pretty easy answer for the very fact that anybody who has a special use permit and has established that buffer, that should be respected. Obviously, there is another step with the application. And if they were not to get approved, obviously, then that would no longer be an established buffer. But I think today the committee would prevent the city from having any additional troubles by allowing anybody and everybody within a 500 buffer approval and then waiting later for the state to approve. Because the main issue I think needs to be understood here is you cannot get state approval until you get a certificate of occupancy at your business. And you can't do that until you've completed your construction. So anybody who's doing new construction will be at a disadvantage of anybody who's going to, you know, slap lipstick or, you know, a little bit, you know, whatever it takes to get the building up and running. So the proper place, I believe, is here and now to establish those buffers and deny anybody trying to come within those buffers. Thank you very much for your time.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this matter?
Yes, I would. Stephanie Braley. I live at 1631 Broccoli Street. I am the owner of the Court Theater at 1216 Court Street. I also own a home on 115 South Oakley, and I am the owner of the property for GNLR, Trevor's place. And again, I guess I'm asking that you deny this, as we've already received our special use permit, and you know, or at least have some clarification, because you know, if I'm investing, you know, I am local here. I do live here in Saginaw. My husband and I, we do a lot of, you know, work here in Saginaw. And if we're going to do a lot of investing in this project, you know, to have somebody else finish before us and, we would end up, like the gentleman before, we're left with a building that we can't do anything with. And so I'm a little, I guess I'm at odds with how to proceed here based on what you guys will be doing here, whether you approve this or deny it. And I'm asking that you deny it based on the fact that we've already received a special use permit.
Thank you.
I believe that Cassie said that there will be another chance to say a few words.
Okay.
No, during the at the end, the planning commission can ask additional questions to you.
I would like to make a statement, please.
Yes, your name and address, please.
Yeah, my name is Paresh Vinci, the owner of Rainmaker and Ramada at 3325 Davenport Avenue. I would like to request this commission is to maintain a consistency of an ordinance and provide an opportunity for those who are investing into this business with an equidistance to maintain that the rules are rules, and changing of those rules will create unfair practices which create a jeopardize and a risk in any businesses. So with that, I would request that 500 feet distance should be kept constant, and based on that, this application should be denied.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment on this proposal?
Hi, my name is Russell Inman. I live at 110 Braley Street, Saginaw, Michigan. I would ask that the Planning Commission consider all setbacks as specified in the ordinance. This evening, you've already asked about and talked about the setbacks for schools being within 1,000 feet or outside the 1,000 foot buffer. So this is the appropriate location to make those considerations of setback, in my belief. Also, you are the board that have actually approved prior locations, so you are well versed in what locations have been approved at this point. And it's my understanding that there is a time limit set on those applications, that they have to be built out and approved as such and functioning within a 1 year time period. So I believe that that's already been established. So as being a resident with a proposed location approved across the street from where I reside, I would be very fearful that this would, if not corrected and taken and appropriately adjourned at this point, that I don't want my neighborhood full of different dispensaries. I very much am thankful that the Planning Commission and the ordinance already has established those boundaries, and I just would request that they be observed and let the time that they are been granted go with its course. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this project? Hearing none, I have a proposal to close the public meeting.
We close the public meeting. This is Commissioner Dallas.
Support Nash.
Been moved and supported to close the public meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no.
Aye.
Aye. Public meeting has been closed. Now, is there a motion to approve case J200054, special use permit for a marijuana establishment to be located at 1321 Court Street?
Commissioner Dallas, I so approve. I'm sorry, move.
Is there support? I support. Is there discussion?
Or I think it's Jessica. Am I saying it right? Jessica. I have a question. The address that we're in question about, you said that there would be security from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with cameras the rest of the time. Is that what you were saying? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I apologize. It's actually going to be a lot more comprehensive than that. So we are going to have 24-hour cameras and alarm monitoring. And in addition to that, we will have on-site security before, during, and after our operations. So it's not just going to be that 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. window. It's basically going to be around the clock. And we're very committed to ensuring safety and security in the area. And we also have demonstrated through our communication with the many neighboring residences and businesses that we will be undertaking extra efforts and care to ensure that all of their complaints are addressed and that we take their security concerns and comments very seriously.
And when you talked about jobs for the city, how many jobs are you talking?
We would create a minimum of 12, but we expect to create up to 22 jobs at this facility. And, you know, we already operate in Bay City, and as well as having many other establishments, and we're confident that we can create not just jobs, but sustainable jobs and opportunities for career advancement for Saginaw residents.
Okay. I'm sorry, my computer was acting up and I didn't hear. And I was just jotting, and I just wanted to fill it in. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioners have questions of the owners of this property?
I actually don't. I have more of a question for our attorney.
I have a question for the proposed property owner, Tom Burley. Hello?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Regarding the parking, with the layout of the proposed structure, where would the employees park?
Well, number one, we would encourage employees to take and utilize public transportation. We would also encourage no parking of public. We will eliminate the current nuisance parking situation and this disarray in front of the property on 4th Street. Instead, we propose to move all the parking to the facility. We have currently 7 parking spaces which are meeting requirements, including the ADA space. In reality, we expect to utilize 4 to 5 spaces during the busy times.
I cannot look at you.
I know. Did you want the bathroom heated up?
Yeah.
I have a question, an observation. I guess maybe it's a question. At the December meeting, somebody from this address, 1321 Court, spoke against the proposal to establish a retail facility on Masonwood. That would be 1215 Court Street. And the citizen's objection, I can't remember the person's name, questioned traffic flow and pedestrian traffic. And I'm wondering if there's anybody here that has any comment on that. It's an issue that hasn't come up tonight.
You know, I think my partner Kirill might have an answer that more directly speaks to that, but we do feel that this facility is actually far better suited to the community than the other location proposed. And part of that is our proximity to houses of worship and schools, and our ability as a business to address security concerns and provide jobs for the community, and ensuring that women and minorities have representation within our business. So I think that, you know, from that perspective, in addition to having better control of our parking, that would certainly add to some of the features that we would provide.
I'm a bit confused, Jessica. There are no schools or houses of worship in that area?
While there aren't within the zoning requirements, if for those who attended that meeting, there was quite a bit of public comment from schools and from churches that are not within the zoning requirements, but were very unhappy with the location there, and especially with the proximity to the theater, because they thought it was inappropriate with the amount of students who would be, in that specific area.
I totally understand, but in accordance with Michigan law and our ordinances, we meet all of those criteria.
So let me, if you don't mind, if I can please address that question as well. So while we have no objections to competition and if you authorize 2 marijuana stores to 500 feet, we have no problem with that. I believe during that public hearing meeting, we listened closely. People objected to having a marijuana store right across the theater that will have potentially a lot of children. Also, we focused on a major of an intersection, signalizing intersection of two major streets, were much easier to coordinate traffic. And we have a very quick check-in and check-out procedure and online ordering. We do not expect traffic to be a big issue either way. We also wanted to bring and explain that we very, very carefully, prior to applying, read the ordinance. We knew that the timing is based on an application submitted, not on a site plan application submitted. The site plan just have to follow that. We got multiple verification from the city that that's going to be the case, that it's going to go by the approval of the application, not approval by the site plan. We spent a lot of money in engineering dollars and other investments to this point, believing that this is correct, and still do believe that this is correct. So we really appreciate your understanding of this. And also that we applied in many jurisdictions, and every time we do, it's never been based on site plan approval, which site plan is always, in a lot of cases, is a requirement, but approval based on a cannabis application, not on site plan application. Site plan is purely planning and zoning issue. And that's why we speak in front of the planning committee hearing. That's our understanding in all jurisdictions we were involved. Thank you.
I still have a question for our attorney. Amy, there was some comments that were being made by Jessica earlier, and I was trying to follow her through the process. Would you mind threading this needle for the commissioners on the two different applications and where we fall with this 500 foot?
Sure. So when city staff was reviewing the process and establishing internal processes prior to opening up the application system, it was determined that it made the most sense, and what our ordinance provided for was that the setback requirement would be established in the licensing process, not during the Planning Commission special use review. Part of the reason for that is that effectively somebody could apply for special use approval and tie up a property without seeking application, without developing the property, but they could tie that property up for some time and all of the properties within 500 feet of it if the setback was determined at Planning Commission approval. So the setback is established through the licensing process. There is a possibility of seeking a variance from that setback requirement for affected properties. That is written into the zoning code currently. And so that's the process as it stands. I don't want to get into the details at this point, but I will say that staff is reviewing that ordinance to determine if any changes are necessary. But I do believe that the process that's been established is fair. It complies with the ordinances as drafted.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I have a question, Bob. So, I need some clarity. Miss Amy, maybe you can help me, or Bob, you can help me. What are we saying? we can or we should not, we should put this on hold to get a real clear understanding, or are we looking at moving forward? What's our clarification?
Staff's recommendation was included in your materials.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions, comments, members of the commission?
Is this still open for public comment or only between the commission? I just want to confirm. Sorry, Robert.
In the interest of clarity, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's an important question which Bill asked, but I really want to reiterate the major issue that the city faces should, I understand that there's an application process, but within that application process, a large, vast majority of what's required is the fact that you meet all the requirements inside the ordinance, which is reviewed and approved through the Planning Commission. And then it's pretty much a technicality when it comes to, obviously, everyone has to understand that they need to be state licensed. They have to go through that process. I understand the concern with maybe somebody holding up the property, but I think that is a very moot point when it comes to now you welcome a couple properties going head to head, one potentially being new construction. And then when the issues comes to variance are not guaranteed. And within the variance, you have to get permission by the business that is within your 500-foot buffer. And we all understand that that business is not going to say, okay. So it puts the city at a disadvantage and the business individual at a disadvantage. Now, the easy answer is that in this commission, you establish those buffers. People see through it that they fill out that application because that's benefits the city to make sure that the business goes through and the investments are going to continue to come in an appropriate way. And then it's great for the business owner and the business investor because they don't have to worry about putting several $100,000 or over $1 million in to a property and then being faced with not being able to get approved because somebody else beat them on a technicality of not maybe doing new construction or what have you. So the best plan for the city and which is the right answer and how to move forward here is absolutely here and now. You have to establish the protection of those buffers. Otherwise, it's just going to be a problem that continues to grow. Thank you so much.
We understand that point. Is there anybody else that has anything additional to add to this that hasn't already spoken their piece?
The public hearing's closed at this point, so I think it's a matter, I think you have a motion and a second on the table, so unless the commission has questions, I think it would be appropriate to move to a vote.
Okay. Ms. Miller, would you call the roll? Just to be clear, this is a vote to approve the special permit.
Okay. Tom Braley,
Abstain.
Zenobia Dallas,
Approve.
Robert Hanley.
No.
I'll come back around to do the reason. Yolanda Jones.
Support.
Brenda Moore.
Support.
Jack Nash.
No.
Jim Nightingale.
No.
Bill Ostash.
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, the special use permit has been denied. I need to come back and get reasons. Bob?
I think that the 500-foot buffer is there for a reason, and I think that what we do tonight establishes a precedent. And I really don't, I think at this particular point that I'm in favor of modifying the buffer requirement.
All right, Jack Nash?
Oh, hold on, I'm wrestling with my dog.
He's a big dog, too.
Okay, I'm back. You still there?
Yep.
Crazy dog. Anyway, I believe the 500 buffer should be kept intact. I just think that's what the city wanted.
Okay. Jim Nightingale?
The property at 1321 Court infringes upon the property that was previously approved at 110 South Mason, again coming back to that 500-foot buffer zone.
Okay, and then Bill Ostash?
My reasonings are the same, that I want to adhere to that 500-foot buffer zone, and I do not want to set any precedents where we could run into issues.
Okay. All right, that was everyone. We can move.
So the proposal has been denied. Public hearing case J200054, special use permit for a marijuana establishment to be located at 1321 Court Street has been denied. Now we move to old business. Do we have any project updates?
I actually don't. Bob, do you have anything you'd like to update the commissioners on?
Oh, at this point, we're still working through the master plan process, review, updating that. We've nearly completed the transportation plan portion of that. The city commission, city council will be hearing probably an update from Spicer Group on the progress, and then we will also probably bring something like that to you as well.
Any other old business?
Bob, I got a question for Rob. I got a question for the other Bob. Bob, I know that you're working on the master plan. Have you started to portion on the well, never mind. I'll call you. I'll call you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Rob. Excuse me. Okay.
Any other questions on old business? Next item on the agenda is a space for public comment. Do we have anybody who wants to make a public comment? Hearing none, the next item is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.